Hi, I'm Tim, and welcome back to the WatchBox. Today, we're meeting new friends from the world far-flung. This is Johan Dreyer, founder and principal of Topwatch of South Africa. So, Johan, between starting Topwatch and finding your way to WatchBox, could you give us a little background on where you came from and how you got here?
Sure. So, degree at varsity, entrepreneur, loved cars, and we did a supercar company in Cape Town called Preowned. I had a jewelry company, so we started taking in watches. It started becoming more than we could handle in the in the jewelry store, and there's a good fit for me, always has been, between watches and cars. So we moved the watches to the car space. Double story, really fantastic. So guy brings his Ferrari in, comes upstairs, has a look at some watches, and eventually we decided to sell the car brand Preowned and rebrand it to Topwatch, which is it now.
It's funny because we kind of come from the same place in terms of getting into the world of luxury via cars and then eventually finding out that watches are just more enduring and more fulfilling. So now you have a physical shop in Cape Town, I understand.
Yeah.
You've got about 200 watches live, and at some point I think you started looking for international allies even as you're focused on the South African market. Could you tell us a little bit about how you came about the relationship with WatchBox?
Sure. So being a visionary and looking at the global watch space, I quickly figured out this thing has to go global. Somebody needs to pioneer this industry, let the countries talk to each other, have a global inventory, and give the buyer access to a watch in Hong Kong, a watch in Singapore, a watch in the States. South Africa is a fantastic watch market, but we are a little bit limited in terms of really nice high-end stuff. So I've been dealing internationally from the word go. I had a few watches, my cash would run up, and I'd fly over to Hong Kong, sell them there. Later on, I flew over to the UK quite a lot, and I was just continually looking at additional foreign allies, like you say.
Now, it's interesting because South Africa is a little bit like mainland China in that you've even seen in the course of your own career in watches over the last 5 years that a taste for pre-owned has developed rather slowly but surely. And South Africa is even a little bit unique in that respect because you were talking to me about 15% import duties. So if you take the 35, 40, 50% hit in depreciation of a standard luxury watch, and then you add the drop-off from that 15% surcharge, it really is uniquely well suited to the South African market, the whole pre-owned concept.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we started doing pre-owned, we really pioneered the industry. There was a lot of guys, smaller guys, pawnbrokers, pawn dealers kind of thing, but nothing formal, nothing backing a guarantee, nothing with its own workshop, and definitely nothing online. So we've been on an 8-year education journey with the customers and the clientele and the market of South Africa, showing guys the real value in buying pre-owned.
And it's kind of interesting because I know the two of us, we've bought watches every which way in our own careers as collectors. I've bought from other collectors, I've bought pre-owned, I've bought new, but I find that pre-owned is just the most interesting because you can only buy the last 3 or so model years when you're buying new. When you're buying pre-owned, everything that's ever been made, including vintage, is constantly on the market. It's just a bigger universe of watches, and I love that.
That's the absolute excitement factor. So my big collectors are, hey, Johan, what did you get in today? Hey, Johan, what's coming up? Have you seen it? What have you seen? So the Basel release and SIHH and everything that's fantastic in the new world space. And I mean, we have a lot of clients that really just focus on new. We support new, we love new. But I think that what is up next and what is coming out tomorrow space in pre-owned really gets the guys going.
So when people are looking at your website, when they're looking at Topwatch, you do have a physical showroom in Cape Town, but your website is where everything lives all the time. So that's topwatch.co.za.
That's right.
So you also have an interest in buying. Naturally, pre-owned watches have to be bought. So if people actually want to buy from you within the South African market, they should also know that you purchase. And how do they get in contact if they want to sell?
So we at the moment cover the Gauteng region, northern region, with a head office. So it's in an office block. It's very secure, complete white glove treatment. Customers come in, beautiful lounge, coffee, the whole thing. And then in Cape Town, we have a proper retail store that's in the Doubletree Hilton Hotel. So a lot of feet, a lot of action, beautiful foyer, absolutely amazing. We have 2 technical watchmakers that actually sit in our retail showroom. So as customers pass by, they can see how these guys dismantle and put together and so forth, which is fantastic. And we obviously have a full-fledged Swiss spec watch workshop.
There was a point when people would have thought of a pre-owned car as a used car, and there would have been a sort of sense of disdain. And today, pre-owned BMW, pre-owned Mercedes, pre-owned Lexus is not just accepted, but embraced as an objectively better value. And a car is only going to last, at best, 8 to 10 years. You get a 2-year-old pre-owned watch for half the price, it's going to outlive you.
So the angle is purely in that emerging market, and I mean, that's exactly the point. People don't know that their pre-owned watch has value. If you look at that Sotheby's sale with that elderly gentleman that had his vintage Rolex, he got a crazy number for it. And we're really in the space of teaching the market that there is value in your pre-owned watch. You could bring it in, trade it in, get a different model, wear something else, and just repeat the cycle.
And a lot of people have asked me, Tim, what's the difference between pre-owned and vintage? You know, what's the real difference? And I say to them, you know, there isn't really a difference. Vintage has a sort of aura of propriety about it because of the influence of money and publicity, auction houses and headlines. But in terms of pre-owned, you're going to get a newer watch in most cases in better condition. You're not going to get the boxes, the papers, and the accessories for a 1955 Rolex Submariner if you're lucky enough to find one in authentic condition. But you buy a 10-year-old watch that has a 100-year service life, completely different proposition. I'd actually rather get into pre-owned than vintage on the basis of condition, provenance, and selection. The watches today are just objectively, to me as a complications fan, there's more to them.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. And it's really, for a long time, it was only the new watch buyer that had X amount of money. He bought one watch and his second watch was not accessible. So now liquidating his first purchase puts him in a second watch, puts him in a third watch. That opened up a whole new category of pre-owned. That took the guys to vintage. So it's really, in our space, 3 different kinds of client that focuses in these segments, which really, for a long time, has only been one part.
And ultimately, we were just talking before about the auto market, and we both kind of got into luxury watches through cars. But cars, with a few notable exceptions, we're not talking Ferrari GTOs here, most cars last 8 to 10 years, and yet today, what certified pre-owned Mercedes and BMW and Lexus and Audi has done for the used car, we really see WatchBox and Topwatch doing for the used watch that becomes a warranted, quality-controlled, pre-owned product with a provenance, boxes, papers, accessories, and no compromise.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that was so well said, I can't add anything there.
Well, I do this for a living.
That's a brilliant point.
So let me ask you, if people want to get in touch within the South African market tomorrow with Topwatch, how would you recommend they reach out to you guys?
Okay, so obviously our website's the first point of reference. It's also our portrait of who we are, what we have available, and where our offices are. Each one of our office locations has a contact us page to make an appointment. And then listen, bottom line, my cell phone number's on that website. You pick up the phone, you give me a call, and we look after you.
Good stuff. And last question, because we're both collectors. What's your grail watch? What's the one watch you've got to own before you bite the dust? For me, it's the Master Minute Repeater from JLC. What do you crave?
So I'm an AP guy. I enjoy the Royal Oak Offshores. And I must say, it's probably going to be something like the Platinum Montoya or something rare, something big, something chunky, something bulky.
I thought I pegged the meter with the Minute Repeater, man. You one-upped. Well done. Thank you so much, Johan.
Thank you so much. Good.
And again, remember, you can find Topwatch in Cape Town and on the net 24 hours a day, our new WatchBox affiliate in South Africa.